you be a practitioner? Why should you be in counseling? Why should you be a counselor? Why are you showing up every day? Why are you waking up and leaving your room, your house every day to go out to do what you want to do? So it goes beyond just being a counselor. It goes beyond, being whoever you want to be. It's about you as a person and what you intend to do. I am Ivy, and I'm going to be your host for this presentation today. So, one of the things that it's important for you to ask yourself is whatever you're doing when it comes to counseling, are you just practicing? Are you just going to work, making people's life get better, listening to one person's situation and, giving them the solutions that they need? Or does it feel like you're answering a call? I want you to spend some time to ask yourself that as we progress or even after this class, that should be at the back of your mind. Just like I said earlier, why are you doing the things that you do? At some point in your life, you need to ask yourself those questions. Why are you doing what you do? Why do you wake up? Why do you go out? Why do you talk to this person? At some point, everything will need to be aligned to who you want to be. But for the purpose of this, who is a purpose-driven practitioner? It's a visionary counselor, not just any counselor. It's a visionary counselor who is one. They are clear about who they are called to serve. They are not everywhere. They are not all over the place. First and foremost, I've said visionary, meaning that they have a vision, they have a foresight, they can see where they are headed and why they should do what they ought to do. The second thing is whatever they do is grounded in their values and vision. They are not trying to be who they are not. They are focused on making sure that they are not doing anything outside of who they are. So if one of their values is excellence or one of their values is integrity, they are not going to delve into a system that is going to jeopardize that. So that's what we mean by grounded in their values and vision. Another thing is that they are intentional about the impact that they create. They are very, very intentional about it. They don't just do things for the sake of doing it, but they know that, okay, the reason I'm doing this is for this, and it's going to help me, feel more alive. What does it really mean to be a purpose-driven practitioner? From our definition, we can see that the person is aligned with their personal values. They do not take other people's values around and begin to use. They are well in tune with that. It's also focused on building client relationship. You don't just come to a counseling session. I know that yes, it can be tiring, especially if you have 100 clients to see and all. But then most of the time you want to make sure that you're in tune with yourself completely so that you can give the whole of who you are to whatever you're doing. So building client relationships, not just coming and saying, okay, tell us why you're here and all of that, but making sure that you're building trust so that the person can open up to you. Another thing is that a purpose-driven practitioner is one who is committed to continuous growth. They make sure that they are constantly developing themselves. The world is changing. The world you live in today no longer exists. That's today that we are here. Every day you wake up, there's something new that is coming up. And with the advent of AI, a lot of things is moving like with the speed of light right now. So yes, whatever you know today, there's something that is going to add to it tomorrow because people are constantly doing research. There's more information now, so there are things just showing up. Now, how do you solve this problem of purpose? How do you become one who is purpose driven? Purpose just stands on three pillars. One, clarity. Two, conviction. And three, consistency. When it comes to clarity, it's about who are you called to help? Are you more drawn to helping children, to helping teenagers, to helping people, to helping men or women or boys or mothers or fathers? Like what specific thing do you feel are the people you are called to help, even if it's a general problem per se? So you want to start with the who. The specificity of that is going to help you to be well aligned. The second thing is conviction. Why does what you do matter to you, which is what I've said earlier? And the last thing is, consistency. Everything that you do, when you wake up in the morning, as you press your phone, as you scroll through social media, or as you create a book, a course, a seminar, whatever you do, is it in alignment to what you're trying to build for the future? You're not just doing it because a trend said you should do it, but you're doing it because it is necessary. Now, the next thing is that counseling, like I said, is rapidly shifting. Before, people had to leave their rooms, go out of their house, to see a counselor, but now it can happen online. Yeah, and then people are also moving from, being general practitioners to become specialized in whatever they do. And another thing that is also very important is that people are not looking at you to just come, let me deliver the service, but there has to be transformation in place. So you have to make sure that you're not focused on, you're able to see that, when this person showed up, this is how they came to the office, but as they moved, you were able to see that they were able to move from number one to two, they were able to move from A to B. So it's not just about making sure you deliver the service. It's not a product you're selling. You're in the service industry and you want to make sure that at the end of the day, transformation is happening in whatever you're giving, whether you're offering the service, whether you're selling a course, whether you're doing a webinar, at the end, no matter how little, there must be a transformation at the end of that. Now, what are the shifts that must happen? Instead of just, using a particular method to solve a problem, you want to move to transformation, which I've talked about. Now, you need to integrate your mind, your heart, and your soul to whatever you do. So if you're doing something that is for the sake of making money, it is no longer going to be business as usual because people can now see when your heart is not in a thing. So you also want to be very careful and try to see how you're doing what you really want to do. Another thing that is important is the models, the solutions that need to be brought out, the assessment frameworks, they must all be with a purpose, not because a lot of people are doing this and that. Make sure that there's a reason you're doing why you're doing what you're doing, and it is also going to yield fruits. What are the common mistakes some counselors make? One is that they narrow their focus on techniques. So you're just focused on, oh, if someone who is experiencing a trauma come, this is what I need to do, and that's it. You're not necessarily focused on the transformation. Another thing is most people prioritize income over impact. Now, this is not to, bring down the importance of income because, of course, you need income to run any business successfully. But at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you're making as much impact as you're making much income as well, not prioritizing one over the other. If you prioritize impact over income, of course, your business is going to suffer. So each of them, or sorry, both of them must be on a balance. The next thing is, following trends without identity. Somebody does something today, it goes viral, and you're like, oh, I want to join, even if you don't understand what is being done or what is being said. Another thing is neglecting self-care. Your self-care is very important. I think there's so much word out there about self-care. You know yourself. When you're getting tired, that's not the time to now overstretch yourself. I know that things are stressful. We have bills to pay. There are a lot of issues going on. But then again, you need to take care of yourself. Do not play a blind eye towards the pain you may be experiencing or something is going on and you're not feeling too good. Take care of yourself and also give yourself to personal development. What you did 5 years ago may no longer be relevant to what is needed for next year or even for this year. And then another thing is not taking feedback. You need to, as a counselor, it's necessary to develop, feedback system, especially after different sessions. Maybe you may want to do a monthly feedback system or a weekly feedback system that people are able to tell you, oh, I think this can be done differently, this can be done so that you are able to become better. Now, I'm just going to quickly move through this because I'm timed. What does it take to build a meaningful counseling career? The first thing is that embrace self-awareness. Know who you are. Everything you will do and become lies on this. You need to know your strengths, your weakness. You need to know, how the experiences in your past have shaped who you are. And be vulnerable with yourself. Accept when you are now fully aware, accept it. Don't compare yourself to the next person and say, but this person is like this. Mm-mm. Embrace it. so that you would know how to deal with those weaknesses. And of course, when you want to probably employ or you want to have a friend and all, you're not going to look for somebody that has same weaknesses with you because you are fully aware of who you are. The second thing is to invest in training and continuous growth. Continuously give yourself to training. There are a lot of options. There are short courses online. There's Udemy, there's Coursera, there is EDX. There are a lot of learning platforms. There's Allison. Allison is even totally free. Give yourself to learning. Give yourself to learning. Read books continuously. It's a continuous learning process till the day you leave the earth. Another thing is cultivate community. Make sure to engage with other practitioners as well. Don't work alone. Another thing is that you should make sure that whatever you're doing or whatever you're building is value driven. Get clear on the niche that you are building. Try to see how specific you can get. Of course, you may not start off from being very specific, but plan that in the next couple of years you would have gone into being specific with what you do. Then, when you've gotten your specificity, expand your influence beyond, attending sessions or creating sessions. Plan to teach, plan to speak, plan to create courses, um, books, different materials that, can be spread around the globe because you're trying to become a purpose-driven practitioner. So, before we leave today, one of the things I want you to think about is, why did you choose counseling? Why are you showing up as a counselor every day? Who are you called to help as an individual? Who are the people that, no matter how tired you are, how to answer this question, no matter how tired you are, if they call you today and say, oh, this person has just had this and that, it doesn't matter how tired, you will have the strength to stand up. Those are the people you're truly called to help. There's a particular case that whenever you hear it, just sit down, have some time to think about it. Whenever you hear it, it does not matter how tired. It gives light within you and you're willing to help irrespective. And the next thing you want to ask yourself is, are you building intentionally or are you just reacting to pressure based on how things are in where you currently live? So, if you're ready to go deeper, first and foremost, you need to do what? Embrace yourself and reflect on your current values. Know your values, know what you stand for, know the things that matter to you. It is so important because it will help you to easily sieve the things that are not important. The next thing is for you to do what? Gain clarity on your niche, build structure in your practice as you progress, and then position yourself for the future. And lastly, join the MCC mentorship program. I hope with these few words of mine, I've been able to convince you and not confuse you that you should start living your life today with purpose. Ask yourself those questions, and I hope to see you in the mentorship program. Thank you so much for joining us. Does anyone have any questions at this point? Oh, Eunice, thank you. Does anyone have any questions before we move to our next session? Any contribution, any insights you want to share? Let's just know about that. Okay. So I'm going to take it that everybody understood what was said. Okay, sure. I'm sure going to ask question. Augusta, can you tell us one thing that you learned and you practice going forward from today? I know the thing, it might not have been new to you, but tell us one thing you learned and you can unmute and speak, please.
Okay. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. I love your smile in your picture.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So I want to say a very big thank you for the session. It's been insightful. We're talking about being a purpose-driven counselor, and you spoke about knowing the people that you're called to. As counselors, the dynamics or the way that counseling is, one might think that okay, you are called to solve every problem, and then you had mentioned that yes, you may start out, on a general note. I'm paraphrasing now. You may start out on a general note, but as you go on, you need to be able to pick a niche, specialize on a particular niche. Yes, and also continuous personal development is something that is crucial, especially in this day and time when a lot of information, people are making research, things are getting stale, and more information is coming up. Now, talking about my experience as a counselor or what got me into counseling, I remember way back in NC, that was many years ago now. I was introduced to counseling. Before that time, I was doing education, of course, NC, and I was introduced to counseling. What struck me was when they introduced us to counseling and they were now trying to talk about individual differences and the rest, I was shocked because from where I'm coming from, if you do not understand a subject in class, they will just do, I don't know if anybody remembers, but they just do shame, shame. They were just trying to shame you. They
Yeah.
sing songs like shame, 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 and the rest of it. And now this is a course telling me that no, there are lots and lots of factors that can make a child not understand something, what's being taught. It could either be the method the teacher is using, it could either be a problem at home, it could also be whatever it is, it could also be the way the child learns, right? And
Yeah.
another thing that, helps, another thing that fascinates me about counseling is the fact that you might see an outcome, you might see somebody exhibiting a certain behavior, maybe a group of people, maybe three people exhibiting a certain behavior. Now, when you probe further, you will see that, yes, while they're exhibiting this behavior, you see that different things are responsible for why they are exhibiting that behavior. So, with each individual, there's something unique that is making them act the way they act, even though you might see something like, for example, headache. Somebody's experiencing headache now, and you cannot just assume that okay, because this is what's happening here, this is also what's happening here. And so yeah, that's my insight, and also from the session and then from my experience. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Augusta. I love your inputs. Thank you so much, and it's good to hear that. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. So, Eunice, do you want to tell us what you learned? We'll call on the director of Mitsu Counseling Chamber, and she'll be taking us on the next session. Of course, this session is supposed to be 1 hour, and we're going to try to keep to that time. So, Ma, the floor is yours. If you can hear me. Hello.
Hello.
Okay, Ma, I can hear you. Sorry, I just remembered.
Send a message that you should unmute me.
Sorry,
Please.
Ma.
Um, okay. Good day, everybody. I hope somebody can see me.
Yes, Ma, we can see you.
Okay, thank you so much. So without wasting time, I'm going to start off with my timer so that I I'll dive into what we are doing today. Welcome, Augusta Eunice. Ayomide is here. Ayomide is our special assistant, and she's in the background listening, and some other people that are going to join. So you're welcome. Without wasting much ado, I'm going to go straight to the few discussions that I want to do with you this morning. So I'm going to share my slide with you, and I hope that you follow along. Kindly accept. Okay.
accept my request to share.
I have, ma.
Okay, thank you so much. So we are talking about the future of counseling. We are aware about counseling before now, counseling, and it's a word. And when people hear the word counseling, a lot of thoughts runs through their mind. To a practitioner, counseling means something. To the layman, people who are not in the profession, counseling means something to them, but everybody have their own different perspectives to counseling. However, regardless of any perspective from the past, now we are talking about the future. Everybody is talking about the future, what is going to happen next, what's going to happen next. In different businesses, in different sectors, what is going to happen next. So we as practitioners, as counselors, we are part of the move. What is going to happen next to us? So I'm going to start from this story of mine, and I title my talk "The Future." Anyway, just a part of the theme. And my name is Precious. I am in charge of running the affairs of Mercy Counseling Chamber. I'm going to talk about that in a moment. So, what? Why am I here? Why am I doing counseling? There was a time I was in a office. Then close to the office, there was a woman who had a store, and the store wasn't running. So I just felt when I met with this person, I investigated about who owns the store, and I was told about the story. Oh, they were not selling, or the person is not around, blah blah blah. And then they asked to shut down. So I was in my mind, I said, okay, when this person comes around, I'm just going to approach the person and offer my voluntary help. So I got to meet the owner of the store, and then I said I can juggle between my own work and yours to a particular extent. So I volunteered to help the person, and then we opened up the store again, and things were moving. Yeah, the person had a sales representative, so I was just because the person is not always around, I was just overseeing the affairs and everything. So, however, my approach to customers when they come, because of my own perspective, the way I see things, based on experience, I do not see customers as I want to get something from you. I see them as individual. I see them as as with a different perspective that I can't explain that, and that is the way I see people, you know. So it starts from there as a counselor. It starts from your heart to people. How do you see people? So where I'm going is there was a time that we were short of a salesperson, so I had to step in. There was no salesperson. So the particular month I stepped in to attend to customers, we had the highest sales. And the woman said, please, I don't mind to be paying you monthly. I said, no, I don't want to start where I can't finish. I'm not going to promise to take up this job with mine. I'm just helping. The sales was 4 times than when the sales representative was there. Why? Because of my approach to customers when they come. I'm not after their pockets or their purse. I'm not after whatever ill behavior some of them might put up. I'm just building relationships with each customer that come. My heart is open, and that is where counseling starts from. Why am I doing counseling? So if we are able to have a heart, a positive outlook towards people is going to help. That is one of having a seat in this profession. Now, we're going to explain some things. There are a lot of professions, and if you look at this pyramid that is put together, there are some businesses that on a daily basis, people they don't need to advertise, except for so, because they want to face some particular country law. That is why you're advertising. But there are some businesses that do not need to advertise. They are basic needs: food, clothing, medical services, emergencies, and so on and so forth. Those do not need to advertise before they sell. And housing. Everybody needs housing, communication, technology, entertainment. But if you look at the one at the peak, law, counseling, going to gym, those kind of profession are at the narrow end. And so it's like climbing a ladder. Before people climb up to this pyramid, I mean, it takes a lot of effort. So knowing this, that climbing the ladder of seeking for counseling takes a lot of effort, I think we counselors, we need to calm down. We need to calm down and bring our services to people. And I've said earlier, it starts from our mind, our mindset, our disposition. How do people do our life attract people to us, or it pushes people away? How do we see people? So we need to bring the hierarchy of counseling down to where food, clothes, medical services or emergency services are. So yeah, so how do we do that? There's been a lot of hindrances to, patronage the counseling. And if you see some businesses, there are some businesses that people really don't like fixing nails and so on and so forth. But those businesses are changing. You can see some restaurants having boutiques at the side of restaurant and everything. Businesses are changing, looking for different ways and approaches to reach clients. So we counselors, what are we doing? Psychology, psychotherapy, what are we doing? We need to change our approach. And I have a funny question here. As a practitioner, a counselor, have you attended the counseling session before? If you have not attended, you have not paid for a counseling session, and then you are expecting people to pay for your counseling session, you know that you still have a long way to go. So, and another thing is, as a counselor, a practitioner, a week should not pass without you having a client. So we are still getting to that anyway. So some hindrances that are affecting patronage in counseling is see it as a professional approach and business approach. Businesses addresses problems. Profession is just a title. It is time to drop the title. Oh, what do you do? I'm a counselor. That is not the question. What do you do? I solve this problem. Oh, really? Oh, I solve the problem of students who fail mathematics. I mean, there are a lot of students who fail mathematics. And as a counselor, they come to you have the password, you have that secret key, nobody knows. That is the problem you are solving. You are not trying to give the society a terminology that they can't understand or they can't place you. So seeing the profession in a business approach manner that people can easily put their money down without being coerced. Then we have practitioner inefficiency. Oh, this is a lot, especially in some parts of the world. I don't want to mention those parts, but a lot of practitioners they had clients or they have clients, but the clients are not feeling the service. They are not feeling the vibe of going to counseling. It's either it is boring or their life is not changing or there's something wrong somewhere. So it is all about the practitioner. So and then maybe there's a lot to it. So practitioner inefficiency is one of the major hindrance. When a client takes this counselor or this psychotherapist and they were disappointed, it's usually very difficult for them to go ahead to another counselor or a therapist. So, yeah, these are some of the hindrances. And then boring services. As mentioned before, counseling, if care is not taken, can be very, very boring. But yeah, those are some of the things. And having unclear daily or weekly goals. As counselors, when you wake up daily, what are you doing? What are you doing towards the profession? Not being realistic, not having a push that who am I reaching today? I put up something, sample of a personal clear goal. Like on a Monday, what do I want to do with this profession? As you are attending to clients, you are doing your personal growth and everything. On Monday, you have your to-do list. It may be one, it may be two. Like this Monday, I'm going to meet with my supervisor. You're still going to talk about that. There's a lot under this, but we are just putting out some things. Then on Monday, I'm going to look for a client, or I'm going to get a client or continue with the client I'm working with. On Monday, I'm going to make a research concerning any concern or any problem that I know or I don't know. Anything that is related to the profession, I'm just going to make research and then you move on like that. Oh, on Tuesday, I'm going to focus on advertisement and reading on Tuesday. You have clear goals. You have something you keep doing daily. That is one of those things. And then, like I said, we're talking about the future of counseling. I want you to see this picture on my screen. Please, I need you to pay attention. And I'm taking my time, so I'm trying to be a bit snappy. This picture is a sample of a counselor that put up an advert, is advertising her service. I know the person, so to say, and then when I saw it, I contacted the person. I said, "This, you are only this your advert. You are only talking to yourself. You are not talking to the audience. You are not talking to your clients. You are not talking. I mean, these are psychological terms. A client who is in problem does not understand this terminology, so to say, trauma-informed care, stress and management, this one, and so on and so forth. This is just a 0% advertisement and specialization. Just only one person offering this. It is completely out of place. Although I didn't say it to the person like that, but however, I put the person through. If you are a seller of food and you're advertising and selling food, food is vast. It's a big word. I'm sure there are 1,000 plus foods in the world on the earth, and it's not possible someone is selling 1,000 foods. So, what are the specific fruits that you are selling? Oh, I sell oranges, banana, and pineapple. Yes, everybody will understand without stress. Don't stress me. You are selling fruit, and then I come to you and okay, I want purple, and you said there's no purple. Which fruit are you selling? We have to help the profession and help the client come to us. No, now is the next step to counseling is stepping out of the profession, of the professional box. For instance, a client must come to meet me. Either you are working for someone or you are working as a private practitioner. We have to step out of our comfort zone and think, I have this gift, I have this river of life in me, and somebody must drink out of it. That is the passion that is driving us. And so we have to look for, we have to go out. We know some evangelists, some preacher, whatever they are preaching, they don't stay in their offices. They are always on the move. I go to this village today, I go to this city tomorrow, I go to that country tomorrow. Everybody is stepping out. We have to step out, both online and physically. Online is good, but we cannot neglect people who are not online savvy. We have to reach out to different people. Then we've talked about this having a specialization and be sure of the specialization you have. We don't need grammar. We need what a layman, a baby, a child will understand when you say, I help people pass JAMB exam psychologically. Simple. I mean, JAMB exam, I have, my children must pass. It's not about the tutorial alone, and so on and so forth. Engaging all form of online media, And then we are moving to the stage that practitioners do not work alone. One of the backlog of that the practice is suffering is counselors, therapists working alone. When they have clients, they take the clients in, they work with the clients alone all through, and nobody is an island of knowledge. It's like you going to primary school or secondary school and you had only one teacher teaching you also primary and secondary school is not going to work. The same thing with clients. When you have a client, either you're private or you're working with someone, if you have a colleague, a supervisor, or somebody that you always deliberate together on how to move this client forward, this is the way. As you're doing your research, you are consulting, you are reading. So that is that. And also moving from fixing problems to preventing problems. Counseling or therapy get boring when we focus on perhaps a client comes and say I have addiction and we just focus on that problem alone, whereas there are some underlying problems or something. And sometimes we wait for getting problems. Sometimes we have to observe and see some potential problems that might come up and step in to prevent it. For instance, you see that maybe someone is in a relationship, and if the person doesn't get the required life skills to handle this relationship well, this relationship might not work. And then they come back crying to you that, oh, they have a heartbreak or their marriage is not working or something. So having the preventive mentality that I'm going to reach out to people who are in a relationship so that their relationship can be maintained, not waiting until they are on the verge of splitting or having trouble before a counselor steps in. So moving from that alone and moving to preventing problems. And also I've mentioned clarity on our service provision. We should be explicit as possible and also having more listeners. There's a lot to it. Listening than talking, listening than giving advice. Somebody comes to you, even someone who has not enrolled for counseling with you, and the person comes to you and they say, oh, I'm going through this today, blah, 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 blah. Oh, I say, oh, and then you start talking back. They have not asked you for your advice, they have not asked you for your input, and you just, you are not listening. It takes a lot. That is that. My time is up, and there is a lot. Once again, we are going to move to the question part. However, I'm going to give you a book that you might want to read, which is good for you. Look Again by Tim Tebow. Look Again. It's good to look again. You've seen something before, you've heard something before, whatever it is. Look again. So kindly check the book, read the book, and give us feedback if the book has given you some positive insight. So I'm going to stop right now and we are going to take some questions and some feedback um, as we move on. But before we take questions, I quickly want to mention that in Mental Counseling Chamber, we mentor counselors. We do counseling and also we think people want to be counselors or counselors who are already trained, but they want to specialize in a particular need or something. They want to have more in-depth knowledge of a particular need. So we do that. So for mentorship, we train counselors, psychotherapy, and psychologists. We want to ensure that you are constantly having clients and you are not disappointing those clients. And clients can easily pay for your service without looking back. And then they get value for what they pay for. And either you are working under someone, you want to help you to to work better so that your employers will be proud that they have a counselor or a psychologist or whoever in their organization. So there's a lot that we talk about during the mentorship, and we have the beginners module and also the advanced module. If you need more information about that, kindly email us, contact us, and we'll give you more information. So right now, we are going to the um, question and answer time. So any questions for me, any correction or suggestion, I will appreciate. Thank you.
Please, if you have a question, just raise your hands and